Had you ever felt the weight of society's endless comparisons and competitions? Life is often presented as a race, but what if the real joy lies not in winning, but in creating? Today we explore how to build habits that make you mental. Today we make you mental, a contest to be won. Imagine life as a blank canvas. The colors, shapes, and textures are not given to you by the world, they are yours to choose, yours to create. Each day is a fresh opportunity to paint something new, something uniquely yours. Yet so often we forget this. We get caught up in comparisons, in the judgments of others, or in chasing someone else's idea of what the painting should look like. In doing so, we forget that the true art of living is in the creation itself, not in how well we match a pre-existing template or standard. When we embrace life as a canvas, we start to see every action as a brushstroke. Even mistakes, moments of uncertainty, or choices that seem chaotic can become part of a larger composition. In art, no brushstroke is wasted. Similarly, in life, no experience is meaningless. Every encounter, every challenge, every small act of courage adds depth and richness to the painting that is uniquely yours. You begin to understand that the measure of your life is not in how it compares to the lives of others, but in how fully and authentically you express yourself. This perspective changes the way we approach both joy and suffering. The colors of joy, the bright, bold hues, are evident, but the darker, muted tones of suffering also have their place. They provide contrast, depth, and texture. Without them, the painting would lack dimension. Life's difficulties are not interruptions or flaws, they are essential elements of your canvas. They teach patience, resilience, and perspective, and they enrich the beauty of your overall creation. Moreover, embracing life as a canvas invites us to release the illusion of perfection. Perfection is an artist's myth, it does not exist in the natural flow of creation. The most compelling artworks are often those with visible brushstrokes, uneven textures, and daring contrasts. Your life is the same. Striving for perfection blinds you to the joy of creating, while embracing imperfection allows you to fully experience the art of living. Each day becomes an experiment, a new stroke on a canvas that is always evolving. So, let us pause for a moment and reflect. Are we living to express ourselves, or are we living to impress others? Are we following the rhythms of our own brush, or are we copying someone else's? To truly embrace life as a canvas, we must reclaim the role of artist in our own existence. We must choose our colors, our strokes, and our textures with mindfulness and courage. Take a moment to share in the comments what color, stroke, or texture are you adding to your life's canvas today? How can you create something authentic and uniquely yours? Let's inspire each other to live boldly, creatively, and with awareness. One of the heaviest burdens we carry in life is the habit of comparison. From the moment we awaken to the noise of the world, we are bombarded with images, stories, and metrics of success and achievement. We look at others and measure ourselves against their accomplishments, their beauty, or their circumstances, forgetting that their path is theirs alone, just as yours is yours. The truth, as Alan Watts often reminded us, is that comparing one life to another is like comparing different songs and expecting them to sound the same. Each has its own melody, rhythm, and purpose. Comparison is subtle, yet it slowly erodes our sense of self. When we measure our worth by someone else's standards, we lose touch with our own values and aspirations. We begin to ask questions that do not belong to us. Am I good enough? Am I successful enough? Am I doing enough? And in seeking answers to these borrowed questions, we silence the voice that is uniquely ours. The irony is that while comparison may feel like motivation, it is often the thief of joy. It distracts us from creating the life that only we can create. Letting go of comparison does not mean ignoring the world or refusing to learn from others. It simply means shifting the focus from external validation to internal awareness. It is about observing life as it unfolds, noticing your own progress, and honoring your own journey. Like an artist painting their canvas, you do not measure your strokes against the paintings of others. You focus on the process, on the flow, and on the expression of your own vision. Comparison, in essence, keeps us from painting freely. It shackles our brush and makes us afraid of bold, imperfect strokes. The process of releasing comparison begins with awareness. Notice the moments when your mind drifts toward someone else's life, their achievements, or their possessions. Instead of judging yourself against them, pause and redirect attention inward. Ask, what am I creating right now? What is my own unique contribution? By doing so, you reclaim the creative power that comparison often steals from you. You begin to recognize that the worth of your life is not determined by another's path, but by the authenticity, effort, and presence you bring to your own. Comparison also diminishes our capacity for gratitude. When we are constantly measuring, we overlook the abundance that is already present in our lives. We forget the lessons learned, the beauty of small moments, and the growth we have experienced. Gratitude is the antidote to comparison. It anchors us to the present and reminds us that our journey, with all its twists and turns, is valuable just as it is. Take a moment now to reflect and share in the comments. How does comparison creep into your daily life? What steps can you take to focus on your own journey instead? Let's create a space of awareness, encouragement, and liberation from the endless cycle of comparison. In a world that constantly hurries us, telling us to do more, be faster, achieve sooner, it is easy to forget that life does not unfold according to a universal stopwatch. Each of us moves through existence at a rhythm uniquely our own. Alan Watts often spoke of life as a river, sometimes calm, sometimes turbulent, but always moving at its own pace. The folly lies in trying to force our current to match someone else's, as if we could suddenly leap ahead or slow down to match the timing of another. To embrace your own pace is to honor the flow of your life, trusting that growth, learning, and fulfillment cannot be rushed or borrowed. So often we feel anxious because our progress appears slower than others. We look around and see colleagues advancing in their careers, friends achieving milestones, or peers acquiring the things we think define success. In these moments, we imagine ourselves behind, as though life is a race with only one finish line. Yet, this perception ignores the fundamental truth. Life is not a competition, it is a process. Each individual's journey is composed of unique circumstances, challenges, and gifts. By acknowledging and embracing your own pace, you release the tension of chasing an arbitrary standard. You allow yourself the freedom to grow organically, to savor each moment, and to trust that every experience serves a purpose in your story. Embracing your own pace also requires patience. We must recognize that mastery, understanding, and fulfillment do not appear overnight. The oak tree does not force itself to grow taller faster than the others in the forest. It stretches and strengthens at its own rhythm, year by year, root by root. In the same way, our lives unfold gradually. Each challenge you encounter, each moment of joy or sorrow, contributes to the depth of your being. When we try to accelerate life unnaturally, we risk missing the subtle lessons embedded in the ordinary, the quiet moments where growth is silently taking root. Another aspect of embracing your own pace is self-compassion. When you notice yourself lagging behind or diverging from others' paths, resist the urge to self-criticize. Instead, remind yourself that your journey is valid simply because it is yours. Progress is not linear, nor should it be measured by someone else's standards. There is beauty in moving deliberately, in pausing to reflect, and in allowing your instincts to guide you at their natural speed. Life, after all, is a dance, not a sprint, and the rhythm is internal, not imposed from outside. Take a moment now and reflect. Where in your life are you rushing unnecessarily? How can you embrace your own pace and trust your natural rhythm? Share your thoughts in the comments below. By sharing, we create a community of understanding, reminding each other that the path is personal and that it is perfectly acceptable to move at your own speed. One of the heaviest burdens we carry in life is the weight of comparison. From a young age, we are taught to measure ourselves against others' grades, achievements, possessions, appearances, and to view our value through the lens of someone else's progress. Alan Watts reminds us that this is an illusion. Each person is a unique expression of existence, a wave rising and falling in the vast ocean of life. To compare yourself to others is like comparing one wave to another. Each is distinct, each moves differently, and yet each is complete in its own right. Comparison distorts reality. It convinces us that there is a single standard of success, happiness, or worth, when in truth, life cannot be reduced to such measures. It steals joy by focusing our attention on what we lack rather than what we are experiencing. Imagine walking through a forest and instead of noticing the beauty of the tree before you, constantly glancing at the neighboring trees, thinking they are taller, stronger, or more perfect, you would miss the richness of your own path. So it is with life. Each individual has their own lessons, challenges, and victories. Comparing your journey to another's blinds you to the uniqueness of your own. Letting go of comparison requires awareness. It begins with noticing when your mind drifts into judgment, envy, or self criticism. Perhaps you scroll through social media and feel a subtle ache, a sense of inadequacy, because someone else's life appears better. This is the trap of comparison. It tells a story based on fragments and appearances rather than the fullness of reality. Alan Watts encourages us to step back and see the bigger picture. Life is not a contest. It is an unfolding, a dance of experiences meant to be embraced fully, without the shadow of someone else's path clouding your own. Freedom from comparison also opens space for gratitude. When you stop measuring yourself against others, you begin to appreciate your own journey, the victories, the lessons, the small moments of beauty and growth. You see that what you have cultivated, the choices you have made, and the obstacles you have overcome are uniquely yours and worthy of honor. You allow yourself to flow with your own rhythm rather than fighting against it to match a pattern not designed for you. So take a conscious breath and release the subtle chains of comparison that bind your mind. Reflect on your life as it is, not as it should be according to someone else. Recognize that your path, with all its twists, pauses, and triumphs, is valid, meaningful, and complete. I invite you to share in the comments what comparisons have you noticed in your life lately, and how can you let them go? By opening this conversation, we remind each other that life's richness is in our unique experiences, and that embracing them without judgment is a powerful act of self liberation. Too often we live as though the purpose of life is to reach some distant destination, a goal, a title, a sense of completion. From childhood, we are taught to pursue milestones, good grades, successful careers, recognition, and so on. While there is nothing inherently wrong with ambition, Alan Watts reminds us that life is not a straight path to a single end. It is a river, constantly flowing, shaping itself, and carrying us along. To focus only on the goal is to ignore the current in which we are swimming. When we obsess over outcomes, we rob ourselves of the richness of experience. How many moments have we rushed through thinking, when I achieve X, I will finally be happy? And yet, once X arrives, the mind often turns immediately to the next objective, leaving the previous triumph hollow. Happiness and fulfillment are not at the end of the road. They are embedded in the road itself. Every step, every misstep, every pause, every encounter carries meaning, if we are present enough to notice it. To embrace the journey is to cultivate awareness. It is to notice the small details, the textures of experience, and the subtle lessons in everyday life. Consider the process of learning a skill, playing an instrument, writing, painting, or even mastering a sport. The joy is not in simply achieving proficiency or fame. It is in the repeated practice, in the tiny improvements, in the quiet moments when something clicks. Life works in the same way. Each challenge, each failure, each fleeting moment of joy contributes to the tapestry of our growth. Moreover, embracing the journey allows us to release the tyranny of perfection. If we only measure ourselves by goals or milestones, we risk disappointment, frustration, and endless striving. But if we savor the act of living, the walking, the talking, the creating, the loving, we become participants in life rather than spectators chasing a future that never fully arrives. Watts often compared life to music. It is not meant to be understood as a means to an end, but to be played and felt. In other words, life itself is the point. This perspective also invites patience and compassion. When we stop rushing toward the finish line, we give ourselves space to breathe, to explore, to grow at our own pace. We recognize that each stage of life, even the difficult or confusing ones, has intrinsic value. The struggles are not detours, they are part of the music of existence. To embrace the journey is to dance with uncertainty, to find beauty in imperfection, and to be fully present in the flow of life. I invite you to share your thoughts in the comments. What part of your journey have you been rushing past, hoping to reach a goal? How can you slow down and appreciate the process, even if the destination is unclear? By reflecting together, we remind ourselves that fulfillment is not a point to be reached, but a river to be experienced. One of the greatest illusions we cling to is the idea that we can control life. We organize, plan, strategize, and try to manipulate every aspect of our existence, believing that certainty will bring security, and security will bring happiness. Yet, Alan Watts reminds us that life is inherently fluid, unpredictable, and dynamic. To insist on control is like trying to hold water in your hands. The tighter you grasp, the more it slips away. Letting go does not mean giving up. It does not mean passivity or resignation. Rather, it means recognizing the natural rhythms of life and moving with them rather than against them. Imagine a river. It flows effortlessly, navigating around rocks, expanding into pools, carving valleys over time. The river does not struggle against its path, it works with it. Similarly, when we let go of rigid expectations and embrace the flow, we find that challenges become opportunities, obstacles become lessons, and detours reveal hidden beauty. Control often breeds anxiety. We fear the unknown, fear failure, and fear the loss of what we hold dear. But these fears stem from the illusion that life should conform to our desires, instead of our aligning with life itself. Watts often suggested that true freedom comes when we stop trying to force existence into a mold of our making and instead participate in the dance of life. When we release the illusion of control, we allow ourselves to experience spontaneity, creativity, and authenticity, the very qualities that make life vibrant and meaningful. Flowing with life also means embracing impermanence. Every moment is transient, every situation temporary. To resist this truth is to create suffering. To accept it is to cultivate peace. When we cling too tightly, we feel loss. When we release gracefully, we find gratitude. Life's unpredictability becomes less threatening when we understand that each twist and turn contributes to our growth and understanding. Even mistakes, failures, and setbacks are integral to the flow. They are not punishments, but lessons guiding us toward deeper wisdom. Furthermore, letting go allows for deeper connection with ourselves, with others, and with the world. When we are not preoccupied with controlling outcomes, we are present. We listen more, notice more, and engage more fully. Relationships flourish when we flow with people instead of trying to manipulate them. And creativity blossoms when we trust the process rather than force results. Watts often reminded us that life is not a problem to be solved, but an experience to be lived. I encourage you to share your thoughts in the comments. What areas of your life are you trying to control too tightly? How might it feel to release that grip and flow with life instead? Reflecting on these questions can be the first step toward true freedom and a more harmonious existence. Uncertainty is often feared, avoided, and resisted. We spend so much of our lives seeking security, predicting outcomes, and clinging to familiar routines. Yet, Alan Watts teaches us that uncertainty is not a threat, it is the very essence of life. To embrace uncertainty is to recognize that life is not meant to be fully known or controlled. In fact, the magic, growth, and wonder of existence arise precisely because the future is unpredictable. Think of uncertainty as a blank canvas. A painter does not know exactly what will emerge at first brushstroke, yet the openness allows for creativity and surprise. When we cling to certainty, we confine ourselves to predictable shapes and colors. But when we accept that the path ahead is unknown, we open ourselves to unexpected opportunities, serendipitous encounters, and profound discoveries. Life's unpredictability is not a flaw. It's the engine of adventure, growth, and transformation. Alan Watts often emphasized that the resistance to uncertainty is what creates suffering. Anxiety, stress, and fear are born not from uncertainty itself, but from our attachment to fixed outcomes. We want life to conform to our expectations, and when it doesn't, we struggle. Yet when we shift perspective and see uncertainty as a natural and necessary part of existence, our relationship with life changes. Each unknown moment becomes a chance to explore, learn, and deepen our understanding of ourselves and the world. Uncertainty also encourages resilience. When we know that outcomes are not guaranteed, we learn to adapt, innovate, and trust our inner compass. Life stops being a series of rigid plans and becomes a dance, sometimes slow, sometimes fast, sometimes joyful, sometimes challenging. The dance of life requires us to be flexible, present, and open to change, and it is precisely in these moments of uncertainty that we often find our greatest strength and creativity. Moreover, uncertainty fosters humility. It reminds us that we are not the masters of life, but participants in a vast unfolding process. Accepting the unknown cultivates curiosity instead of judgment, wonder instead of fear, and patience instead of frustration. It invites us to surrender the illusion of control and experience life as it truly is, a living, evolving journey filled with infinite possibilities. I encourage you to reflect and share in the comments. How do you currently respond to uncertainty in your life? Can you see it as an opportunity rather than a threat? By exploring these questions, you begin to transform fear into curiosity and resistance into growth. Remember, life's most beautiful moments often arrive from the unknown. Embrace them, and you open yourself to a world of possibility. Too often we live as though life exists somewhere else, tomorrow, next week, or after we achieve some imagined goal. We chase future milestones and worry about what's yet to come, forgetting that the only reality we truly possess is this very moment. Alan Watts reminds us that the present is not a stepping stone to something better, it is life itself. To live fully is to embrace each moment as complete, profound, and worth our full attention. Living fully in each moment does not mean ignoring planning or responsibility. Rather, it means allowing yourself to experience now without constant distraction by the past or future. It is in this awareness that life's richness unfolds. The gentle warmth of sunlight, the laughter of a friend, the rhythm of your own breath. Each ordinary moment, when fully attended to, becomes extraordinary. This is the art of presence. Alan Watts often illustrated life as a musical performance. Imagine playing a song while constantly thinking about the final note or the applause at the end. The beauty is lost because your focus is elsewhere. The music is in each note, each pause, each subtle inflection. So too with life, joy, insight, and connection are found not in distant outcomes, but in the awareness of each passing instant. Living fully requires us to release attachment to outcomes and expectations. We cannot dictate every event, control every reaction, or secure every result, but we can engage deeply with what is happening now, embracing life with curiosity and openness. When we do this, we discover that even ordinary experiences can become transformative. Eating a meal, walking through a park, or listening to someone speak can be profound if met with genuine attention. There is also courage in living fully. It means facing uncertainty without retreating, engaging with discomfort without avoidance, and allowing yourself to feel deeply. It means giving your presence completely to relationships, work, and your own inner life. This courage cultivates resilience and joy simultaneously because it acknowledges life as it is rather than as we wish it to be. I invite you to reflect. Are you truly present in the moments that matter, or do you live in anticipation of a future that may never arrive? How would your life change if you treated every moment as your most important? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Your perspective might inspire someone else to embrace life more fully today. Remember, life is not a distant destination to reach, it is the unfolding of now. By living fully in each moment, we unlock the depth, beauty, and vibrancy that is already present. This is not a goal to attain, but a practice to cultivate, one breath at a time.